Hi, I'm Luke Serveld. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Gaffer. I'm here with my wife Jan. She's going to be our model today, and we're just doing sort of a simple set. It could be like a B-roll for someone you're highlighting this person, but you want to show them in a contemplative mood. I know this is an incredible contrast to what's going on in the streets right now, but here we are reading a book, early morning, sun is coming up. We've got sort of social distancing going on here. We're about 13 feet to our cameras. We're about 15 feet to our light. We've got the light outside on the front porch. So here the actual morning light is coming in. We've got the 12 by ultra bounce blocking most of it. And so our first unit is an Area 48 color. And that's from BB&S lighting. And so it's same form factor as a regular Area 48, but instead of having phosphor fronts, this is a unit that is full RGB, color tunable, everything. Has the same sort of translucent front, you just don't have to swap them out like you would with a regular Area 48. So it's a small source, but punchy. You know, it's about 150 watts as far as, total power. We just have that at 5600. That's what we have our camera set at. So if we want a little warmer feel for that early morning sun, we could go to fixture control. Here I'm just using the blackout app, and we could bring that down to say 3200, sort of a tungsten-y feel. And there you have a nice warm color on the skin. Because it's a panel, you can look at the shadow, and the shadow has a nice rounded feel to it, just typical what you'd find from a panel. Nice colored light and a nice shadow. If we have this scene, sure, we have the sort of the main sun. We don't have anything in the back, but it's a little dead in the back. So maybe we want to play with that a little bit. We could do a little pop on the back furniture. We've got all this light here. Maybe we could cut this with some cutters. We can do that in a minute, but maybe we put a little splash on there, sort of bringing that sun around, even though that's physically impossible. Maybe there's a little something coming from the kitchen, and let's take a look at that. So here we go there. Now we could bring that up if we wanted to, if we wanted a little more taste of that. But this is pretty pleasant light here, so maybe we don't get too hard back there. But that's the nice thing about units in the background. They can be a little harder than what you have here on the skin. That's actually a Q5, and that's a Felix light. It's a Fresnel, full color tunable, RGB as well. Actual window light of the kitchen, which is not direct at all. And here we're faking it, bringing in this cute little Q5 and just smacking the furniture here a little bit. What's nice is that you can add a little bit of cut with the barn door. There's no color aberration or any double fringing or anything. It's just a nice clean cut. So that's quite a feat for an LED and a full color RGB LED. We do have this antenna on it. We're able to power it with a USB, even though it does have a battery, so it could go by itself. And then maybe just a little bit of ambience in the back there. I've got an aperture 300X just poked into the ceiling, so we could maybe give that a little taste there as well. That's, just to bring up that back wall a little bit. It's kind of funny when you don't know what's going on behind you. So that's just at 11%, just real low. If you want to see that with more intensity, that would be that. But then it starts getting a little fakey. So we'll just bring that down. Yeah, that's sort of 10% there, 11. So the cameras are at 5600, the light's at 3200. Now, why don't we look at adding some cutters here to frame our light as though it is that window that we're pretending it is. And actually, it is outside the window, so that all makes sense. So let me just do that a second. Give us a little bottomer. So see, that's there. So we just take that out a little bit, and then I'll put a cider in here in a minute, so that'll sort of bring that in just to show that there's a side to the window. I'll do that in a minute. And then we could just place something across our talent, you know, something thin, a little Charlie bar or something like that. And this is just a piece of foam core. However, I would like to give it a little bit of angle like that, which is going to be tougher with the way I've got my stand. So we'll improvise as we do. And I'll bring this up sidey. And then we can rotate this into the shot a little bit. It's not a hard shadow, but and then we can bring, yeah, we have that where we want it. Maybe that even comes down a little bit. Now is this even playing? It's subtle, you know. And then we can bring this in as the cider. Something along those lines. So let me take a peek at that. She's maybe getting crowded a little bit by this guy. So we'll let the light play on her face a little bit more. Okay, then you're reading your book. And okay, yep. All right, and now you can see that the light in the background is coming up outside, and that's quite a cool light back there. So we wouldn't want to go too much further along without playing with that somewhat. This is, you know, our basic sort of little B-roll shot. Now, what if we swap out this Area 48, nice soft light, and we put a Fresnel out there instead? I have a Q5 Fresnel from Felix. We'll have it at the same 3200. So here's another look we'll go to that turns off the Area 48, and now we have a much harder light. So there's a Fresnel light, and it's in full flood, so we get our hardest shadow there. And so in terms of intensity, it's about a half stop down. I checked it out earlier. And so you have a much harder shadow. That may be a look you want too, but that's just to show you sort of the difference between the soft panel and the more focused Fresnel, which is what we always used to light with, you know. Fresnels was what we had. And so now there's a move towards much softer light on the person, but it's easy to add a little pop in the back, and that's often where you want your harder sources. But it's still a pleasing look. We don't have any diffusion in front of either of these units, but it's still a very, you know, workable lighting scheme. And so in the background there, we have control. We bring up our unit there, cool it a little bit. That's just kind of a, you know, simple scene showing you some different options, things to try. Interestingly, the output of the panel light and the Fresnel are quite similar. You know, they're sort of in the 150 watt range. You just have two sort of different qualities of light that, depending on what you're looking for, can come in really handy. Let's look at that other look again. Now we'll go into a little more detail about each of the units. Okay, first up is the Area 48 color. Nice form factor, really compact to have all that power and light in this little space is cool. Solid doors. It's all the same as the original fixture, and I've got two of them here in my little setup here. But now you've got all this much more capability, fully color tunable, RGB. Just pop it on here. So there we are at 1%, and I'll spin it around. It's just a touch screen. So This is all the color bands. You've got RGB and warm white and cool white, a great quality color. Now, I'm not going to play with color here that much. See, you could go with, you know, there'd be a full red. You toggle the green, take the red off, bring up the blue, take the green off. You know, take that off. Now there's your warm white, and this would be your cool white. So yeah, there's, I don't know how many, there's a ton of different profiles. This hasn't been updated yet in the blackout software that I use, but you know, that's coming. So in another video, I'd love to play with the color of this unit. I did want to show just one sort of interesting thing that I really like about this guy is just, you know, when manufacturers come out with a new unit, that's cool, but if they add a little something like just one more thing, each of these units have something like that. And so you noticed I had to push in this little button to take it off of here. And there's just a little cam in there. It's just an extra little release. Now, on the one hand, when you put it on, it won't go on until you push that. But now it's got another little thing to catch on the indent on the baby. And so it's just a small thing, kind of cool, you know, because sometimes these knobs, they're not the strongest. Now you've got an extra little safety. I love it. Next up, we got the Felix Q5. Just pop that on here a minute. It's got a couple fun things about it. And I do want to show this. This is a way that you can either have a battery, you know, with a V-mount, boom, and release. It's got a 1-2 release, which is kind of slick, or you can put the AC adapter on that. So just like that. And then this, so that's on a Mayfer, but now that's also available on the unit. And so boom, boom, you can either have a battery and you pop your battery on and then use a D-tap to DC, or that's where you can put the AC adapter, goes to the unit, goes to power. If running off a battery, you know, that's pretty compact. So you just have battery, boom, that goes to the unit and you can be running around. It's really nicely built inside the yoke. You can spin it fully around as needed. Even when you have a centena in here, it will also rotate around. So that's nice for that tilting. The spot flood is right there. So let me just open up these doors a minute and show you how that works. With LEDs, having this sort of bellows Fresnel is kind of a common thing. You can see that in like the Area L series. It's just a standard way to keep your source of light close to the fan. And on a tungsten, you know, you're keeping the Fresnel fixed, and then you're moving the light and the reflector toward that to get your spot flood. Here, you move the Fresnel away from that point source. Even when it's running, it's all cool on the front because all the heat comes out the back. It's got like nice little rubber feet. It just feels nice. You know, it has that sort of tweeny size, but so much capability. Now, let's look at the back here a little bit. It's got a way, you know, dials here, but it also has this quick toggle, which I really like. And you can see it's different modes. So if you scroll through, there are plenty, all the way to 16. And That's so that there's enough modes to not only do CCT, but RGB, HSI, and effects. 8-bit, 16-bit, it's all there. So you name it, they're dreaming it up, they're putting it in even before you want it. It's just nice to know that manufacturers are on it. You know, I mean, when you think about it, just the innovation that Aperture is putting into their units, the cool lightning clamp that they added to it, you know, just it makes everything slick. That you've got manufacturers helping you out, so you're not having to take their unit and then figure out some kind of, you know, way to rig it, some way to get that ballast or whatever to work. You know, the Area 48, boom, it's ready. This, boom, you know, I love it. They're just thinking ahead for you, and man, it's easy to be a lighting person in this world. You have just so many cool tools and nice form factors. It's really wonderful. So let's see, let's turn this guy on. Let's say 25%. Now there's full spot. Nice and narrow, but a really sweet Fresnel. You know, it doesn't have funkiness going on. It's just because of that small point source in there, it's giving you a really nice feel on the Fresnel. And now let's come out. So flood, and just so you can see the left and right, there's that, and there's that. You know, and we're just like barely 6 feet away from that door. Then just for fun, pull out the doors and pull out the Fresnel. Now you lose intensity because that Fresnel is focusing it for you. Let's go, boom, yeah. So very even. Where the Fresnel gives you the focus, here in a pinch, you could have a very nice even field. Put that Fresnel back in, play with some different hues. So you can see, you know, even at this position, 30%, we're already kind of overblowing it a little bit pretty easily. You know, just to get that color saturation, you often want to be in sort of a darker situation. Down to our reds. There's our 360 or 1. This has effects and all that as well, but, you know, small form factor, but still a good amount of pop. And yeah, I just like a lot of things that are going on with this unit. This Q5 is new enough that it's not all dialed in to the software yet as far as dimmer control and blackout, but you know, that's coming, and I've got to give this up. I've just had it for you know, a couple days here, but now it's got to go to other people to play with. Just happy to see that manufacturers are giving us great tools. You know, hey, can't beat that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Take this Charlie bar out. Yeah, I don't think we need the Charlie bar. I think it's pleasant like that. A couple days before we shot, I did a time lapse to see how the sun actually played in the room, because I knew I only would have about a half an hour to shoot before those back windows blew, got too bright, and I wasn't going to treat them. So as it was, they still were a little bit bright. We could have shot a little bit earlier, but hey, getting it all together, one guy, it's a bit much to do. But anyway, kind of fun to see here at the end how the shadows creep in, and then just a little bit of dining room light. Bing! Here are the two old style Area 48s hanging up. They're the lights that I always use here in this little set. And then we've got a couple cameras all on the same post, little overhead. And then we've got the background lights as well. There's another one up there. And then those are being controlled by this little DMX box. Pretty straightforward. And then now with 3 cameras, it's nice to have the A10 Mini Pro, and I can have that toggle through to the monitors so I can see that I've got everything in frame, everything in focus, and close to the right aperture.